Hey everybody, it's Come Follow Me time. So we're in 1 Corinthians chapters 8 through 13, which seems like a lot to read, but they're not particularly long, and there's so much richness in here though. So again, following the Come Follow Me manual, but I've also picked out and just put together 5 points that I feel could really help us now. Prayerfully select them. So somebody out there needs to hear this. Maybe it's you. Anyway. So first of all, chapter 8 is a really long way of saying there's many ways to live this life, and Paul's going to teach us like a more excellent one. Through the gospel, he's going to teach us that there's a really good way to live this life. It doesn't mean it's going to be easier. It's still going to be rough. It just gives us a better perspective and helps us to have that relationship with God so that we don't feel so alone and that we've got someone to turn to no matter what, those kind of things. So he's going to teach us that, and let's get into that really. So in chapter 9, he sort of introduces himself again, which you think this is really weird. But he's not just saying, hey, I'm Paul. Remember me? I've spent some time with you. He's stating who he is and what his business is. And why is that important? Well, because his business is people. It's the same as Jesus was. His business was people. He wasn't in the car sales business. He wasn't in trying to sell you something. He wasn't trying to convert you to the latest fitness regime. He's just in the business of helping people. And that, we can do that too. And take that in and to meet people where they are or where they were or can be or are going to be, just like Jesus did. I particularly like verse 2 when he's saying, in verse 1, he says, I'm an apostle, am I not free? Have you not seen Jesus Christ our Lord? Have you not seen the work of the Lord? You know who I am. And then unto, if I be not an apostle unto others, yet doubtless I am to you, for the seal of mine apostleship ye are in the Lord. So other people might not consider me an apostle because they don't have the same beliefs, but you guys do, so you know this. And then in 3, this is what I like. Mine answer to them that do examine me is this. And then he goes on to speak a bunch of stuff. But that examine, are you ready to be looked at with your life pulled apart? It's kind of interesting, right? I think if I pulled my life apart and had it all examined, there'd be some really ugly things. There'd be some things that people wouldn't know. And that's okay, because there's a lot of good things too. But to live in a way that at any moment you could get examined. And what are they going to find? It's that radical honesty with yourself. That's interesting in there. I like that. So he says that, he's not hiding anything. And I don't particularly hide anything. It's just that I might not say some things to everybody. And so, when it comes to being judged, if you will, or, meeting Christ, know that he's going to love you more than anything else. And, you don't have to hide anything from him. In fact, actually talk to him about it. It's going to be better. So he goes on to say a lot of things about what that looks like, what does it look like to live this life, this Christ-like life. It's like living the gospel every day, to preach to everyone, to not be ashamed of it in any way, that we have freedom to choose, and what will you choose. And 15 through 27 is really nice. There's, the 10 sort of through 14 talks about focusing on the temple and working, but 15 through 27 is interesting because he compares it to running a race. And I like 22 particularly because he says, to the weak become I as weak, that I might gain the weak. I am made all things to all men, that I might be all means save some. So I'll meet you where you are. This is part of this meeting you where you are, to do whatever you need to do, even if I only save one, even if I can help one person, it's still worth it. But he goes on to talk about this run that he's comparing the gospel to. And in 26 he said, I therefore so run, not as uncertainly, so fight I, not as one that beateth the air. So he's not doing it as a show pony. This isn't for show. This is for a genuine goal for his. And that, keeping that race and running that race, there's only ever one medal that gets won. But as we all know, runners specific, if you know a runner, and I do, they like to win, of course, but they're super excited if they get a better time. or if they have a good run, it's still exhilarating to them, which I don't get because I don't run marathons, but I have other things that I understand that in. Other things that I've completed, like I know I'm not the best in the world at it, I'm not going to be some Olympian in something, but I'm still really like proud of what I did compared to where I started with that particular hobby or thing, and what I can produce now as opposed to say 20 years ago when I started. So that's like what he's saying to us is, only one person's in a race, only one person's going to win it. But in the gospel, it requires that preparation and daily effort to improve on that thing you want to do. And everyone wins that race. Everyone wins that marathon. It's not just a one medal only race. It's actually everybody gets the prize at the end. It's just that how much did you prepare in, doing that? It makes a difference to where you're going to go, which sounds like I'm talking in circles, but think about it as a race, which is hard because most people I know don't actually run. It's only a few. You would do that anyway just for the completion of it, to say, I did it. And he says this again later on when he talks about, I fought the course, I ran a good race, I've done my thing. I have, because there's a lot of runners around there. He's in Greece, they run, they have messengers, and simply actually being able to deliver the message, and you don't need to be first or second, you just need to run, and the joy of running is enough in itself. So what will you choose? So it's not an actual race, but the gospel requires preparation and daily effort too. Just like if you're going to run a marathon, except everybody wins this marathon. And so how can we keep ourselves fit for this humanity marathon? What things can we do to be prepared? And those go back to the essential things: to read scriptures, to say prayers, to do Come Follow Me, to listen to conference, to turn to Christ every day, and just go and serve. I had wonderful opportunities to serve today. One was just really simple, and I had already said yes, and then I went to put my car through the car wash, and the lady was having trouble with it. I was able to help her. I rang the helpline. She couldn't even work her phone. Just an older lady wanted a clean car. Super easy for me to do. She was so happy about it, so grateful. And for me, it was such a simple thing to do. So again, meeting people where they are. I met her at the car wash. I met the other lady I helped, the other friend I helped, at her home and took her to the bus station. These weren't hard things. They didn't require me to do anything huge other than just be me and help people where I was, because that's where they were. So think on that. That's what chapter 9 is telling about, is that, you can look at it as a marathon. He compares it to that. But how do you get prepared for that? It's that living it every day so that when it comes up, you're ready to go. You're ready to help. You can see the need. You know the need because you've prepared to see it and you're looking for it. Yeah. Anyway, so that's basically chapter 9 in a nutshell. We're going to go look at one verse in chapter 10, but I'll cover a few other things as well. So I'll see you there.